It's a shocking family secret that leads to a gruesome double murder. A man kills his own sister and her husband, hiding a dark truth that will stay buried for over 20 years. What is he so desperate to cover up? And what finally cracks the case wide open? Stay tuned. This is one you won't believe. Let's recap. It's a scene straight out of a horror movie. In the quiet town of Park Township, Michigan, newlyweds Rick and Gail Brink are gunned down in cold blood. Rick is slumped behind the wheel of his Chevy Blazer, shot twice in the head. Inside, Gail is in bed, also shot multiple times. It's 1987, and just like that, their love story ends in a brutal execution. But who would do this, and why? For 24 years, the case stays ice cold. No arrests, no leads, just whispers and dead ends. Then, detectives take another look. This time, they notice something they missed before. Two stories from 1987? They don't match. And that tiny crack in their alibi? It's about to blow this case wide open. Now, meet Ryan Weingart, Gail's older brother. His relationship with his family is complicated, especially with Gail. To the outside world, they're just brother and sister. But behind closed doors, their relationship is anything but normal. Just a few months before the murders, Ryan meets Pam, the woman who will later become his wife. Their relationship moves fast, and by the time Rick and Gail Brink are found brutally murdered that November, Ryan and Pam are practically inseparable. But what Pam doesn't realize, she's about to get dragged into a deadly secret that's been festering for years. Ryan and Gail have been involved in an incestuous relationship that started when Ryan was 12 and Gail only 9. As teenagers, it turned darker and more twisted. Ryan allegedly admitted Gail said no, but he forced himself on her. As they got older, he was terrified his dark, twisted secret would come out, but his lust for his sister never went away. One day, Ryan, Gail, and her husband Rick are out on a boat together, enjoying what should be a carefree day on the water. But then, it happens. Rick catches Ryan staring, not just looking, leering at his own sister in her bikini. And Rick doesn't say much, but the look he gives Ryan says it all. What the hell was that? In that moment, Ryan feels exposed, like Rick has just peeled back the curtain on the one thing he needs to keep hidden. The nervousness, the shame, the fear, it sticks with him, eats away at him. When Gail marries Rick, starts a new life with him, Ryan may have felt like he was losing control. Investigators now believe he feared she would expose what happened between them. Then, in November 1987, 18 months after they tie the knot, the happy new couple are executed at point-blank range. They looked their killer in the eye. It doesn't get more personal, more cold-blooded than that. Back then, Ryan told police that on the night of the murders, he and his then-girlfriend Pam were at a friend's house doing something totally normal, babysitting their kids and doing laundry. Sounds airtight, right? Except no one ever actually checked. At the time, police never followed up with the friend to confirm whether Ryan and Pam were watching the kids that night. It was a huge mistake, and it let Ryan walk away without a second glance. Fast forward to 2012, when detectives take a fresh look at the case, and this time, they do ask questions. When they re-interview Pam, they get a very different story. She hesitates, she stumbles over her words, and then she finally admits they weren't at a friend's babysitting, and Ryan was not with her all night. That's a huge shift, and when detectives press her even further, she drops a bombshell. Pam claims Ryan confessed to the murders, even drove her to the crime scene before anyone even knew Rick and Gail were dead. He pointed to their lifeless bodies and told her he had to do it, then turned to her and said, "If you ever tell anyone, this will happen to you." And for the next 24 years, she kept his secret. A year after the murders, Pam and Ryan get married and go on to have 3 kids together. But the weight of this terrible thing is weighing on her. So when the cold case team comes back around asking questions, Pam finally breaks. She tells detectives that on the night of the murders, Ryan admitted he got into an argument with Gail and Rick. The fight? Something so small so petty it's almost unbelievable. Gail and Rick won't let their parents park their camper at their house, so they end up at Ryan's. That's it. But for him, it's just another reminder that he can't control her anymore. The argument gets heated. Rick and Gail tell him to leave, and he does at first, but he isn't done. Ryan comes back claiming he has car trouble. He needs help. So Rick, not suspecting a thing, hops into his Blazer to go check it out. That's when Ryan pulls a gun. Before Rick even knows what's happening, 2 shots to the head, execution style. His body slumps over in the driver's seat. But Ryan isn't finished. He goes inside the house, finds Gail in their waterbed, and does the exact same thing. +1, 3 shots to the face. And just like that, they're gone. Ryan walks away from the crime scene like nothing happened, and for 25 years, he gets away with it. But now, detectives have a witness, a confession, and enough evidence to finally bring Ryan Weingarten down. With the walls closing in, Ryan does what he does best. He denies everything. He tells detectives there was no argument that night. In fact, he says he didn't even go to Rick and Gail's house. He claims he thought about it, but he was low on gas, so he never made the trip. Instead, he says he found out about the murders on Monday when his parents broke the news. Sounds convincing, right? Except for one problem. A friend of Ryan's comes forward with a different story. He tells detectives Ryan knew about the murders before the police did. That's right. Before Rick and Gail's bodies were even discovered, Ryan was already talking about it. How would he know? Then there were the strange comments. Over the years, Ryan said some disturbing things that should have raised red flags, but somehow didn't. Like the time he casually mentioned, "Sometimes I wonder if I could have done it, and if they let the folks stay at their place, they'd probably still be alive." Or when he talked about Gail saying he felt like he'd raped her. And even after losing his own sister in such a brutal way, he didn't seem all that upset. When his surviving sister called him, heartbroken, looking for comfort, Ryan barely reacted. Instead of grieving, he brushed it off, saying, "Well, she had a good life. No emotion, no sadness, no remorse." But that's all about to change. After more than 2 decades of secrets, whispers, and lies, Ryan Weingarten is finally in a courtroom facing justice. But if you think he'll sit quietly and let the trial play out, think again. From the moment proceedings began, Ryan is a nightmare. He can't keep his mouth shut. He talks over his own lawyer. He interrupts testimony. He shouts comments across the courtroom. He calls the judge a liar. And through it all, he acts like he has no idea why his wife Pam would lie about him. But then Pam takes the stand, and she answers the question everyone wants to know. Why would you marry him after what you knew? Her answer is heartbreaking. She tells the jury about her dysfunctional relationship with her father, how he was controlling, emotionally abusive, and when she met Ryan, it felt familiar. The way he treated her, the control, the manipulation, it was just like home. He was a control freak through and through. He even homeschooled the kids so he could dictate what they learned. While he stayed home, Pam was out working and bringing in the money, but Ryan still made all the calls. He decided who she could see, what she could do, and exactly how every dollar was spent. And most of all, he never let her forget his secret. Again and again, he reminded her, "Keep your mouth shut." But when detectives came back around 25 years later asking questions, Pam realized she couldn't carry the weight of it anymore. Pam's story wasn't just talk. She knew details only someone who'd been at the scene could, like the fact that Ryan put a pillow over Gail's head. And that's exactly how she was found. With damning testimony like that against him, Ryan's defense team reaches for a long shot. They argue he isn't the killer at all, that Rick and Gail Brink's murders were a case of mistaken identity. Their theory? It all comes down to the house. Rick and Gail had just moved into their new home, but before them, it belonged to a man known as Shotgun Sid. And Shotgun Sid? He wasn't exactly the welcome to the neighborhood type. He had a reputation, selling drugs and weapons, getting mixed up with the wrong people, and among those people, a violent motorcycle gang that may have been out for revenge. The defense claims these bikers showed up to settle a score, expecting to find Shotgun Sid. Instead, they walk into Rick and Gail's home, see two unfamiliar faces, and execute them, without realizing they have the wrong people. A shocking theory, but is there any truth to it? Prosecutors shut it down fast. They point out there's zero evidence of a break-in, zero signs of forced entry. Nothing in the house was stolen, no ransacking, no struggle. In fact, it looked like Rick and Gail knew exactly who was at their door. And the biggest hole in the defense's story? Ryan's own words. His disturbing comments, the way he knew about the murders before the police even knew. And of course, Pam's testimony, the woman who had kept his secret for decades until she couldn't anymore. The defense tries to sell a case of mistaken identity, but to the jury, it's crystal clear. Ryan Weingarten is the killer. In the end, he's convicted of premeditated double murder. His punishment? Life in prison ×2 without the possibility of parole. And just like that, after 24 years of freedom, Ryan's secrets finally catch up with him. But here's what we want to know. Do you think Ryan's wife Pam should have been held accountable for staying silent for so long? Or was she just another victim of his manipulation and control? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear what you think about this case. And if you like getting all the crime in half the time, give this a thumbs up and remember to subscribe so you never miss a recap. I'm Chris. Amy and I are here 3 times a week with new stories. Until next time, stay safe out there.